The history of conquerors seizing land and taking away the rights of indigenous people has been repeated in many countries and continues to this day. The subjugation of native people by Europeans after they arrived in the New World is well documented. One of the first and most aggressive conquests was led by Spain. Following the arrival of Columbus in 1492, most of the Western Hemisphere would soon be under the control of European nations. By 1750, more than 90% of the Americas had been colonized by 6 different countries. Stories of conquests in the Americas include vivid descriptions of brutality. Images depicting Spaniards torturing Indians were based on reports, but not actual observations. Some of these reports were exaggerated. Many of these images may have been created as propaganda. Evidence does exist that these illustrations were based on actual incidents. Within this legacy of injustice, there are stories of hope. Native Americans living in New Mexico today are descendants of people who found the courage to rise up and defend themselves. Conquistadors entered New Mexico in 1540, less than 50 years after they landed in the West Indies. When Europeans first arrived, they exchanged food and other supplies with the natives. As their numbers grew and more colonists arrived, the Spanish demanded more goods and services than the American Indians could provide. If these demands were not met, or if other orders were disobeyed, the natives were punished, sometimes through hard labor. The Spanish describe how they kidnapped natives, enslaving them to work in the silver mines of Mexico.
The story is really revealed through these documents that were recorded by the Spanish. Every time they went anywhere or did anything, they had to write down what they did.
One of the most brutal punishments reported was that Spaniards severed the limbs of captive warriors.
And they tell in their own words how violence was used against the Pueblo people to control them.
Another form of control was to forbid certain Indian cultural practices. Pueblo people weren't allowed to be off their land after dark. They were forbidden to perform their dances and rituals. At the same time, the area is hit by a series of droughts, and the Indians aren't permitted to carry out the ceremonies that call to their ancestors to bring rain.